Hey everybody, thank you for joining us for today's episode of Real Estate Disruptors. Today we've got Kenny Klaus with the Klaus Team, and he's here to share how his team has sold one house a day for the last 9 years, an unbelievable number. If this is your first time tuning in, I'm Steve Trang, broker, owner of Stunning Homes Realty, and the co-founder of the Offer Fast app, the only app you need for wholesaling, and I help people become real estate entrepreneurs. If you're excited for today's show, please give me a wave, give me a thumbs up, and before we get started, I started the show because we want to give back to our community. So we've struggled before. I've heard some of the struggles that you've gone through. And we want to shortcut that struggle for as many young leaders as possible. So I don't charge a dime for this show. I don't make any money doing this. So here's the only thing that I ask. If you get value out of the show, either tag a friend below, share this episode right now, or tell them your best takeaway. That way we can all grow together. And don't forget, this is a live show. So if you're willing to ask the questions, Kenny's happy to answer them for you. So we'll start with a softball here. What got you into real estate?
Wow. Well, first of all, man, it's an honor, and thanks for the opportunity. I apologize. I was a little under the weather today, but I couldn't miss this opportunity to spend some time with you. Hopefully, I don't get anybody sick here today, but so I'm not dressed in my realtor gear today, but here goes. We're going to have some fun. So what got me into real estate? For those who know a little bit of my story, I was the FedEx guy for 13 years, and during that time, it started a little pest control business, built that up, sold it, and went
while running FedEx.
Yeah, I was still there. I'd just go to like 412s, and so you had 3 days off, so you had to do something, and then so the entrepreneur side, I saw a lot of guys there that I still am friends with today and respect a lot, but I just knew at my age and time in life that I knew there was a ceiling there, or I felt like there was, and so started looking around. I had a manager one time lean across the belt. We were unloading packages, and he showed me a check, and it was for about $5,400. And I said, "Oh, what's that?" And he's like, "Well, I sold a house." And this was back, obviously, like 19, 20 years ago now. And I said, "Wow." And he goes, "You know what?" He goes, "I think you'd be really good at this. You're a real people person, da-da-da." And I just saw that check, like, I never had the zero. It was like $540 would have been a check, Right. It was like, wow. And you wake up every day unemployed, which is a motivator, and yet you wake up every day and there's no ceiling on opportunity. It's how hard do you want to work? How much do you want to grow? And so I started doing it part-time, and it took me about 4 years because I was very nervous and conservative with having a family and, going to all commission income with having good benefits. And so I went from full-time to part-time to, I'll say, really part-time, and was working about 12 hours a week unloading cans just to keep the benefits. And after about my 4th year, and I was well into the 6 figures in GCI, I was able to make the break. So our goal was to have no debt and have $10,000 in the bank, because that would have been a huge opportunity and milestone back then. And we got over that number, well past that number, because I was still nervous, because you just don't know, and then broke free, and the rest is, but it helped you learn, who you are, and a lot of the things that hopefully we'll talk about today will come from those experiences, and life puts you in places for a reason, and you just take away what you can from it, and keep growing and driving.
Very cool. So starting part-time, what were some of the early struggles?
Just the hours. I mean, just having a life along the way, having 2 kids already at the time, and, you get those buyers, and of course back then you're working with mainly buyers, and how that fun is it's kind of their schedule. Most of us get into real estate for our own schedule and the freedom, and
it's the biggest crock.
And we realize none of that happens, and so. But, I'd say the struggles were just, growth at the time. And growth, by the way, has been the biggest struggle throughout the entire time. You don't know it at each phase that you're going through, because you're in the middle of it.
Right.
And, but it was really going from just working all day, every day, and, in the disappointments that come with real estate. Meaning you got that buyer, you finally got one, you're doing everything you can, and they go buy a FSBO without you, which is an experience obviously I had, and so, it was just those challenges. But growing through that time, was really, a challenge because I didn't know what I didn't know, and I was with a small independent company, and there was obviously no training and everything. You just willed your way through it, and with just perseverance. My favorite word's relentless. So just relentless. Just going to make it happen.
Well, I think the growth thing is an interesting thing, right? Because I want to say this about half a dozen times where I was like, oh, I figured it out.
Right.
I can take it easy now.
For that moment, right.
Right? For that moment. And then life lets you know. Life humbles you very quickly.
Very quickly, yeah.
So what are the first 2 or 3 things you would do differently if you were starting real estate today?
Oh, man, it's a great question. I think the easiest thing would be just personal growth, just becoming a better person from leadership standpoint to communication style to negotiation to just understanding people better. I think I just, I failed forward through that, and I look back and, to sit here now 19 years later, still humbling and crazy to me to think, but to know the lives that I came across during that time in my organization and some of the relationships that, I wished I would have done a better job or been a better leader as I was growing.
Yeah.
But I'd say personal growth above all else is the key to success in anything that you're doing, because your world can only grow to the extent you grow. And so if you don't grow and yet you expect the world to give you something, it's not going to do it.
No.
And it's really not that hard. I mean, you've hung out with me a little bit. It's like, hey, he's kind of a simple dude. Like there's not a lot there. Like it's not rocket science, but it's a desire to just get better every day. And I know we hear all the cliches, but I mean, truly to go do it. And, Buffini taught me kind of the 5 circles and, your spiritual and financial and physical and personal and emotional growth. And it's just a mission since 2005 was I just have to get better. And I mean, I can tell you, going through Catholic grade school, high school, I mean, I got by.
Right.
I don't know that I ever read a whole book. I'm sure mom and dad aren't listening, so we're good. But I don't know that I ever read a whole book, and now it's like I can't wait to, whether it's a little bit Audible, a little bit this, a little bit that. Sometimes I just have too many going, but you just take a few nuggets out of each one. And I think too much in life, people spend too much time looking out the window instead of looking in the mirror. And they want change, but they always want someone else to go first. And I think that we all have it in us. I mean, the cool thing about real estate is it doesn't take much to get into. And honestly, it doesn't take a whole lot to be wildly successful if you just put some fundamentals in place. And simple as please and thank you and smile. I mean, just
so let's
treat
go
people.
back there, right? So personal growth is number 1. That's the first thing you would do. What's another thing that you would make sure that they do?
In starting out would be, who you're surrounding yourself with, because there's a lot of characters in our business and a lot of people that come and go, and a lot of people get licenses and drive the new Mercedes, and what their outsides look like aren't what their insides are like, or what's in front of the curtain isn't always what's behind. And so I think surrounding yourself by the right leadership, and that was a turning point in my career when I moved from franchises, was I'll say I was wise enough at the time, I didn't realize it, to follow I would say what I felt was what my heart told me I should be doing, not what ego or other things said you could go do. And looking back, I'm going, wow, thank goodness, because it was it's one of those two, where your wife has that intuition and says, I think we should go this way. And you're like, yeah, but here's all this, and I know this, and we have our own franchise, and we do this. And she's like, yeah, it's just, that doesn't feel right. And you go, okay, this is the way we went. And you look up now and you go, thank goodness, because the people you've met and come across are what makes it possible. For me and you to sit here today is such a small part of me and such a big part of we. So much of it is the opportunities that, I won't say I won't be ignorant to the fact I haven't earned some of them, but at the same time, been given the opportunity and then just not let anyone down, And
right. And I think there's also something there too, that the wife, listens to the wife, because that more often when I don't listen to her, mistakes happen.
Yeah. Well, no one loves you more, is going to support you more, or have your back more, and have nothing other than your best interest. So it's just it's a cool place to be, because it's I got shared maybe 6 months ago or so, the word wisdom came up, and we started talking about wisdom. And it's funny having 4 kids and having grandkids now, and you think about wisdom, and you try to share with them, and and they got to go do it themselves. That outlet over there, they still got to go put the fork in it. It's just how it works, right? We got to go do it, and just got to say, I don't know, it happened to you, but probably not to me. And guess what? And then all of a sudden you get wisdom in your life. And I have mentors like Gary Keller and Steve Chater and some of the people who genuinely have no other interest than to help me be better and to shortcut some of the things that I could. And I finally went, I just need to start listening to that stuff. I just need to go, they don't have a motive, they truly care, but it's not everybody. It's a small circle that the wisdom is genuine. It's not out for their best interest. And my goal is to help instill that in a few people that trust in me and close to me, that, we want to share the journey, because there's a lot to take away and a lot of stuff we can avoid, along the way.
So I've heard that you're the king of farming. So we were talking about that FedEx driver thing. Yep. So what I heard, and I don't know if this is true, but while you were driving, there was a piece of mail and there was a piece of something from Kenny, right? So you're farming while you're still driving.
Oh, yeah.
You're dropping all your packages. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, that was... I was in Moon Valley back in the days with FedEx, so 7th Street, and that was my route.
Oh, this is way before Mesa.
Oh, yeah, way before. And, well, actually, I was probably living out this way, Tempe or Mesa at the time, but that's where my FedEx route was. And the Valentine... What year was this? This would have been... Got licensed in 99, so probably right at 99, 2000, 2001 to 2002. And the Valentines were... I was probably even before that, so probably 97, 98, because I was... Anyway, and the Valentines were everywhere I'd go. I'd see their signs all over there. And I'd deliver to their house, and it was just interesting to me. And I went, wow, it seems so efficient. Why would you want to shotgun all over the place? And when I'd run my route, I got to know everybody. And your efficiencies. And, you go to a customer's...
All the mailboxes at their house.
Mailbox, back door, front door. If it was a business, who was signing, when they picked up. Meaning your customer service level went through the roof, right? Yeah. Whereas if I had a swing driver, someone doing my route, or I had to be a swing driver and do someone else's route, my efficiencies weren't as good. I was nervous because I didn't know where to go. My customer service wasn't as good because I was running scared half the time because you're always late.
Run behind,
whereas, when you're the regular guy. So it was like... When I got to East Mesa, I started almost going baseline. We lived there for 4 years, and then moved out to Augusta Ranch. And I said, you know what? We're gonna put our heads down for 10 years. We're gonna work our butts off to make this thing work, and look up. And if we're still here in 10 years, then we're probably gonna be okay. Yeah. And that was on a 1-year budget, but it was a 10-year vision. And
very cool.
It's crazy to think, because we're in that same house still today, and
really?
It's just kind of funny, how fast things have went. But. Yeah. The FedEx concept, and I think that's why I share that story sometimes for people, because it helps them relate. The FedEx guys don't take a package and then you take one and the next guy takes one. They all take an area and they just learn it really, really well. And that's the same thing I did in real estate, was get to know the business owners, get to know the product, right? What homes are there, get to know the schools, the principals, get to know everything about it. Because I was better serving the area and the community, and I got comfortable. Someone would call, and I'd be like, oh, you're in the Ryland, the 10-foot ceilings, the split floor plan. Did you do the den option or this? Did you do the full patio? And they're like, okay, come list the house. Yeah, we know you know what you're doing, or know the area. But the confidence went up, and the efficiencies. And so it just became... it just became fun. And then growth happened from there. Right. And that's why when Gary wrote the one thing, it was like, wow. I looked up and I went, here it was 10 years later, more than that, since he wrote that book, since when I started, 12, 15 years later, it was like, that was my one thing. I just didn't realize it. Like, everything else was a distraction. As long as the newsletter went out, as long as I ran the route, everything else was just, if it gets done, it gets done. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But this is the one thing. This is the priority, not priorities. It was the priority.
It's awesome. So let's talk about farming. I mean, I know you got the CLME, right? But let's just talk about someone that hasn't heard of it and they want to get farming. What are two or three things that you say, here's what you got to do if you want to farm your neighborhood, be the expert? I
would just say, call us. Well, let's just get in business together and we'll go rock this thing. Yeah. No, well, that too. But we teach a class because Gary finally told me, look, you got to come up with something, because people call, email, text, whatever, and they want your time, but then they don't go do anything. So at least if they invest in our program, then it's like, hey, now let's help you, because you've taken that first step.
Skin's in the game.
Yep, some skin in the game, and you've kind of gotten over that first wave of questioning, because I've already given it to you. Like, I don't hide anything. It's right there. I mean, it's not rocket science, geographic farming. The interesting thing is, if you go back through all the markets, way before we ever were in real estate, people farm all kinds of different businesses, meaning whether it's your database as a farm, I mean, you're just taking care of that database, you're farming that, you're just basically keeping in touch. It's putting a fence post or drawing something saying
or
that
keep out.
So you could call it a niche or a farm, whatever, but that's what it is. But as far as starting today, I would just say, sorry, as we go through farming, there's a lot of different pieces, right? I mean, we always say, make a business decision, not with your heart, because too many people, I want to farm this area. Well, what's a turnover rate? What's an average sales price? Do you want to be here for the next 15, 20 years? Because this is where you're going to own a business. I mean, that's the vision anyway, right? To go from having a real estate job to owning a real estate business in a geographic area. I mean, I don't want you just to have a database. Those are hard to sell. But if you have a brand in a geographic area that people are doing business with the brand, that's a business that can outlast you. I mean, you can turn that over and keep it going. So I think that the vision being, pick an area where there's some turnover rate, 5%, 7%, if you can find some of those kind of numbers, an area you like that you don't mind doing home inspections in those areas, if it's older homes or it's newer, because some crazy stuff out there. And then just a budget. I always tell people that my first year, it was like, I was spending about $1,000 a month on print. We didn't have EDDM. We didn't have the color printing like we do today, the ease, the cost of it. But so I had $12,000 we'd set aside. And it wasn't the fact it was $12,000, it just happened to be all the money we had. And so I was like, okay, we're going to make or break, but we're not going to quit. And so we did this little newsletter thing and got a listing on the very first one. And I thought, well, this was easy. Why doesn't everybody do this?
Just keep doing it.
Yeah. And then I went 7 months without one. And
really?
Let me tell you about quitting points along the way. Everybody wanted free ads in my newsletter, but nobody was doing business with me. And you go through kind of like a seller does when their house isn't selling. Like, what's wrong? It's either the agent or it's my house or me or what's wrong. You start going, am I doing something? Am I too young? do I not know what I'm doing? But I wasn't even getting to the table, right? And then in month 7, I got 3 calls in that 1 month, and I landed all 3. And from there on, I honestly didn't track anything. I wouldn't track anything today if it wasn't for Scott on our team. So amen to him. Oh, he runs the operation. I'm blessed. He's amazing.
So you started Augusta Ranch?
Yeah. So Augusta Ranch was about 1,700 homes.
Okay, so you started 1,700.
That was the initial for about a little over 2 years until I really started to get some market share in there. And then I started getting listings outside of there because there was kind of a bleed over. People knew people in the other community and say, hey, call these guys or call this guy. And so we went to 5,000, did that for about 2.5, 3 more years, then went to 8,000, did that for about 2 or 3 more years, then went to 12,000, then 17,000, and now we just do the whole zip, which is about 22,000 homes a month.
And which zip code is that?
85209 and 85212.
Okay, so stay out of 209 and 212 if you're going to farm.
Well, if you want to come, I love, when people do, it's awesome because it just fires me up. I'm like, all right, we got to go buy another moving truck. Let's go do this. Let's go. We got to do more of this. You step up your game, and sometimes you get a little bit complacent, and that's one thing I think we're blessed because of the people I'm in business with today, that there's no complacency. We have big scoreboards in our office, and on each side, success team and the sales team, everybody sees what everyone's doing, and it's a pretty competitive deal.
What's the success team?
Well, a lot of people call it their admin team or that, but success team is just they make the team successful. I mean, without them doing what they do to make us look good, because we're salespeople. I mean, we like to go out and shoot it and drag it back to camp and then go do something else.
Well, that's awesome, right? Because, the salespeople normally get all the glory, so call them the success team. I mean, I like that because you're celebrating the people that make things happen. And
they are, and they truly are, and it is. And, it really is a we mentality around our office. There's no heroes. I mean, our clients are the heroes at the end of the day. We're just the guides along the way to help get them what they're after, and everybody shares in their role. We do profit sharing, 401k. I mean, we really want people to. My goal, we call it career visioning within KW, and really to have the opportunity to achieve their goals under our umbrella. It's not about can we make Kenny more money. It's about can we hit our goals, and if we can, then everybody can. And so we've started creating all these divisions within our team. We have our silver group now. You have your investor side, ISA side, that there's an opportunity, builder relations. It's just, and all of a sudden you start finding opportunities for people to lead those things. And it gives them that same entrepreneur spirit, but within an organization where there's no ceiling to their growth.
I think
opportunity.
Someone call it an entrepreneurship.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So that's cool. That's awesome. All right. So, so we talked about farming. That's number one resource. Database is up there too.
Yeah. Those we were doing our coaching thing this morning, and it's interesting because when I started, again, like I shared with you, I didn't track anything. You know, my P&L was there's more money coming in than going out.
You're not the C.
No, there's no
in your
C.
organization.
I don't think it even registered. So,
yeah.
But you know, the goal of all of it, you know, going back to that was we didn't sort and track it. I said me. I didn't sort or track. I was just like, hey, more business, and most of it was all farming. You fast forward, you know, now today, we consider a lot of stuff database, but it's really, if you track back the origination, they bought and sold with us in 2001, 2003, 2005. Then they bought again and sold. And over the time, it's become a database, past client, when really the origination. So we're close to 65 to 68% of our business is all database farming, that piece of it. You know, the internet stuff is truly just, you know, icing on the cake, if you will, but the cake is not meant to need icing if you don't have to.
What's the third leg then?
Well, I would say, you know, our biggest pieces, again, like you said, is farming, and then database sphere, you know, agent to agent referral. We do a fair amount of referral.
Okay.
So
that's like out of state?
Yeah, out of state.
Relocation.
Yep, a lot of that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then beyond that, you start getting into like your Zillow, Dave Ramsey, which is really such a minimal part, even if anymore. And then, you know, open house, those kind of things.
Right.
So.
Well, and it's interesting, right? You were talking about the database. You farm, and then you had the database, which you originate all back to the farm, and that's the Callaway's story, right?
Yep, same
I can't remember. It was like 85255, 254. 254, and they just started with just this farm. Then they went for the whole zip code right off the bat.
Yep.
But they have this like county-wide farm, but the base is still 85254.
Right. Yeah, you have the hub, right? You have the center point. That's the one thing is just that's the hub basically.
Yeah, it's very cool. Okay, so how has technology impacted your business?
You know, it's funny. It's
a hot topic.
It's a hot topic, man.
Yeah.
Technology is, you know, it's like 2018 is the technology conversation, and 19. Because Arizona is where everybody comes and tests their new toys out.
And we
get all of them. And we get all of them on top of each other and all spin-offs. And, you know, and I think that's the battle right now is, you know, robot versus realtor. And you know, I look at our team and go, hey, if a robot could do it or technology could do it, they're not going to need us.
Right.
What is it that separates us? It's the emotions. It's the negotiations. It's the knowledge. It's the you know, creating that experience for the client so that they go, wow, this was a value having you on my team. Because when I teach classes, I always start with, you know, how many people in here, or, you know, how did you get into real estate? I think you asked me earlier. A bunch of them go, well, is when I bought my own house. I couldn't believe they made $8,000 on that, and I saw them twice, and they weren't even at the closing. You're like, what do you mean they weren't at the closing? No, they weren't at the closing. I'm like, well, I can't imagine going to court with my attorneys going, well, hey, we're good. I got you to this point. You know, I don't need to be here for this. Like, and so I think we always have to look at if a robot could do what you're doing, then we're in trouble. Yeah. But if we can create that experience, people do this every 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, moving that is. It's, I mean, if I ask you how many homes have you owned, not as your primary residence, the other wouldn't be fair, but as primary residence, you'd know right off the top. And then your mind would start going, I remember memories there. I remember memory, and I see it all the time. Taking an Uber, no big deal. Cab company, technology wasn't a challenge. Picking a flight, no problem.
Right.
Buying a house, there's still an opportunity for us to protect our industry, but we have to truly create an experience for the client. And I think that comes from, you know, all the standard stuff that people do, but really raising our game as far as our negotiation skills so they see the value in that we're providing, you know, market value. We've been doing these homeowner workshops, and I've been amazed at the amount of people. It's all questions about getting the home ready to go to market. And it's so great that they come out early because I have samples of, here's some of the things, and they're just like, I didn't know you could do that for that price. I didn't know you could do that. That's value, right? And that's when you feel really, really good about servicing somebody, you know, helping them achieve their goal. You know, our why is to help people build wealth, to help people achieve the American dream and build wealth through home ownership.
Yeah. And I think we talked about this, or we were talking about this before we started the show. I mean, you do your homeowner workshop. It's going to be in your office moving forward.
Moving forward,
Right? And it's just homeowners coming in, and you're giving them options. So I think that's phenomenal. I mean, if you want to provide value, because right now the biggest challenge is the homeowner is like, oh, I just went to open door, or I just did this.
Yep.
And the reason why is because they saw no value in talking to you.
It was so convenient. I'm okay to leave 10 or 12 grand on the table because it was so convenient, and more in some cases not. It just depends on the price range, of course. But they make it. They've simplified it so much that they go, "What do I need you for?"
And
until there's an experience or a challenge or home inspection stuff or appraisal, and then all of a sudden.
And you've communicated to your sphere, your entire sphere, hey, there's a homeownership workshop. Find out what you can do before selling your home.
Yeah.
Right. And that's all about adding value and the human experience. So that's great.
100%. Kind of the tagline right now is confused on selling in today's market. Because, Realogy now announced that Coldwell Banker is going to be doing their iBuyer.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I hope everybody does one.
Yeah.
It levels the playing field, and let's go compete again.
Yeah.
We all have one, great. If it makes sense to the consumer, let's do that deal. If it doesn't, let's help you get as much as you can. But our opportunity is people are confused right now. I mean, go on the internet for any subject, and it's super confusing. I mean, you don't know which one to trust.
A tremendous number of great arguments on both sides.
100%. Yep.
There's no.
It's like politicians, right? I mean, you listen to they're bashing each other right now, and you're just like, is this really TV that we need to have on? But
you can argue both sides.
100%.
No problem.
100%.
So the other thing, so you and I were on a panel together. Speaking on technology.
On technology.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about technology.
No, we didn't. So there's one of the things we talked about was you can either try to fight it or figure out how you can work with it. Right. And so you've got Offer Depot going on. Can we talk about that?
Yeah. And so, I mean, the idea with tech is it's meant to be a tool that you control the tech. What's happened is tech is trying to control you. And then once that happens, you're an Uber driver, basically. I mean, that's where we're headed if we don't continue to push it. So basically, I mean, just simplifying the process. Like we had clients in our own farm. And they're going, well, we got to check this other thing out. And I'm going, well, why wouldn't you just go through us and we'll just help you with the whole thing? So we just kind of create our own program called offerdepot.com. And basically, it's like Trivago is to travel, or Expedia is to travel. Offer Depot is to real estate. We go to the markets. We get you multiple offers. We give you a professional home valuation, put it in a one-page simple side-by-side comparison. You decide what's right for you. Either way, you're represented. Because the big difference is you go to a builder, you're not represented. You go to an iBuyer, you're not represented. Just the facts. I mean, they work for themselves. That's what it is. And I don't care how many cookies they give you or how nice the people are on the phone with
Those
the iBuyer.
Those cookies are pretty good.
They are good, and it's good to go get some, but not to still have your agent with you, right?
Right.
But we just saw a need that the consumer ultimately still needs guidance. I've watched some where they fill out those forms and they forget to put key things about their house because it didn't ask that question, or they didn't take the right pictures, or they didn't market to the iBuyer like we market to them. We're used to describing a home, oversized corner lot, 10-foot RV gate, extended covered patio, blah, blah, blah. Whereas they're just going to put in the basics. And by the way, they're not going to go to, all of them. I mean, it's a lot of work. Load all the photos, do all that, and then they're all calling you, and then your data's not safe. If they don't buy it, there's a chance that somebody else might, and all of a sudden, whereas when they go through us, it's submitted under us.
Yeah.
So there's no phone numbers being shared, no anything being shared. So it was just a tool that we thought would be a good idea in our community to be able to share with people and give them choices again. Put the seller back in control of all their options with their trusted resource.
So I liked a lot of what you said there because we're the good guys again, right?
Yep.
We're not the, I don't want to bother him, or it's we'll just skip him. We're the heroes again. And the way we do that is we tell them, here are the things you can do to get your home ready, and here are the ways that we get you more cash offers so you can compare so that you're protected, versus just leaving them alone and then you're just not part of the equation because you provided no value. So I'm in a couple of different masterminds, and that's always the continuous challenge. How do we make sure that we're providing value versus oh my goodness, you already went over there?
Right.
It's too late. So I love what you said there. That's really
the key is
impactful.
that we want to keep, for us, is keeping that relationship, right? Because there could be a buy on the other end of that. They could be a sell by down the road, the referral. But if they feel like they had to go around you, odds are they're going to be embarrassed to call you in the future.
They're not going to refer you.
We just need to again, I look at it like I always, when I talk and teach with people, I'm like, make sure that you're the voice of what's happening in the market instead of defending and getting upset that Zillow says this or the media says this. You're letting them talk to your database. You should be the expert and say, give them a video update, give them a something of value, give them something where you tell them this is what's happening in your market, not the market, but your market. And I just think that's the mistake we make, is we kind of wait and think we did such a good job that they'll call us again instead of, it's a contact sport. You got to keep contacting people.
And that goes back to what you were talking about earlier, using technology, right? So we got Viral or BombBomb or whatever.
There's a ton of tools.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we can $39.95 ourselves a month to death in this business, that's for sure. This is going to change your life. And by the way, I've signed up for enough of those, so I can speak to and I'm looking in the mirror when I say that one. But it's like everything, I had a little outburst in our sales team meeting last weekend, and
not you.
No, and I got some slack from it, but what I got from it was massive action after the meeting, and the amount of calls people made to invite people to our networking or to our homeowner workshop that weekend. Because I was a little upset that we hadn't called enough people. The whole idea of doing that workshop was give them a reason to call people.
Opportunity to call.
Call, even if they don't come. You're an authority, you're out in front of it, you're educating. Hey, is there any questions that you have? It's a soft call. It's not, the whole Ford idea, the family occupation, all trying to go through all that process, make stuff up. It's on purpose. So I got a little fired up, and we had one of our agents call, and she ended up cold calling through, which we don't do as a team, but she did in a neighborhood, just made 20 calls to invite him to an open house. And the guy said, well, I'm actually looking at selling my house. Turns out he's buying a new house too. And we made it with both sides of that, which is just crazy in one little push. And that's what I'm saying, guys. You got to go do activities. We can't sit and wait. And we're in the shift now. We might as well just call it what it is. We're there. So you have to start doubling down and doing the things that you didn't necessarily have to do when the fish were jumping in the boat the last few years. It's going to weed out some. It's going to get challenging. 2 years from now, I think it's going to look a lot different. I think we'll see a lot of mergers and acquisitions in our industry.
Yeah, that's actually a question we'll be asking a little bit.
Is it? Yeah.
So the next question is, you said, you're a simple guy, but you're obviously wildly successful as well. So what do you attribute your success to?
Truthfully, I love people. I love meeting people. I love personal growth and helping share things with people. And I just think it's, for me, it's just a relentless effort to figure it out. There's always solutions. There's always, some people, I forget the quote, like there's a stone, and some people, look at it as something to trip over, and other people look at it as a stepping stone. Like it's just how you look at things. And, we share the 212 philosophy in our office, 212 degrees, and that's been really our motto since 2005 is just, just that extra degree in everything you do. And so I think...
You want to explain for people that haven't read the book what
212 means? At 211 degrees, water's hot. Yeah. At 212, it boils. Boiling water creates steam, and steam's powerful enough to move a locomotive. It's that one extra degree. Right. And I always say it takes things from ordinary to extraordinary. Yeah. So even our restaurants, like our happy hour is at 212. Like it has to be fun and unique, but it forces the servers to have to explain to our clients that we go 212 here. Like everything we do, it's just got to be, we just can't be average. I tell my kids, I say, you want average life? Just do average things. It's cool. My daughter, it fires her up every time. It's like, Dad, I'm like, well, just if you want, average life, just do average things. And, it's just, it's that simple and that hard, right? It's true.
And that's one of my big takeaways when I went to the high performance forum with Darren Hardy.
Oh, yeah.
And he was saying that,
he's one of my favorites.
Back in the day, average was good.
Yeah.
Right? Good was good enough, and you had a good living. Today, if you're average, you're suffering. Like, your business is dying.
Do you ever look at your kids and go, man, Ryan, I just hope you grow up to be average, buddy. If you can just be average, like this would be so great. Just let's go for average, okay? Yeah. Well, that's what they teach them in school.
That is what they teach them in
average
school.
Average GPA, average test scores, average. If I could just get to average.
Right.
What? That's not. We're teaching the wrong stuff. But it starts in our own houses. It starts with us. Again, remember going back to us, and then outwardly from there is, controlling the environments and just pushing a little bit. Honestly, it doesn't take much to be wildly successful. I've proven that, and I wouldn't say I'm wildly successful, but had some success just by getting up every day and staying focused on what your goals and what your missions are.
Yep. So you're coaching lots of people. You got a national, what's the word? Reach.
Yep.
Who's coaching you?
So my coach for several years just took over and started KW business coaching for Keller Williams. It's MAPS Coaching Business Mastery. So he's teaching outside of the real estate space. Keller Williams has evolved to business coaching. So for outside, not real estate related. So which tells you who I was coaching with. He was an awesome. I mean, to be able to, for Gary to put him in the position that he's president of that organization is awesome. So I currently have a coach within KW, within Keller Williams, a MAPS coach that I've had since Abe. So I've only had the two. And then I coach a couple agents throughout the country.
So MAPS coaching, and I'm assuming Gary's involved too.
And then I've been fortunate that we have a real good relationship with GK and get to spend time with him quite a bit. I was actually supposed to go to Austin again next week. Been really blessed to spend a lot of time with him and really get to see firsthand someone who just completely bleeds for the real estate agent. I mean, he is a martyr. I mean, what happened in February when at family reunion and how that got spun with, some of the things that he shared up there because he fired everybody up. And you look up 6-8 months later and you're going, here it is, it's happening.
He wasn't wrong.
He wasn't wrong. And because he doesn't care in the sense that he's going to speak the truth. He's not trying to be, what do you want to hear? It's like going to the doctor, right? Do you want to hear what you want to hear? Or do you want to hear the truth? Like, I want to hear the truth. I want to get fixed. What's wrong? I think that he just can come across sometimes as shock and awe because everybody wants it to be happy and okay. It's a grind right now, man. This is a defining time we're in here. This next, I'll even say 6 to 18 months is, it's crazy how much we've seen even this year in technology push and changes in the way we do things. Yet the consumer, by the way, doesn't notice most of it yet.
Not yet.
That's the interesting thing.
So Gustavo Placeros is asking what was the name. So Gary Keller is who we're talking about right now.
Sorry.
Oh, no. I mean, you and I know, right? But, okay, so what does your team look like today, right? I mean, you're doing a house a day. I mean, what does it take? How many bodies are there? How many agents and so on?
Yeah, so we have Scott who runs our team, and then we have...
and you're coaching.
Yes, and he does coaching. So we have 2 full-time transaction coordinators. We've been interviewing for a third, listing manager, and then I have my assistant, who's Stephanie, who's been with me for 15 plus years. She's kind of I'll say my assistant database integrity role, but like today we have someone that's on vacation this week. She's hopping back into that role because she's been there with me since it was me.
She knows how it's done.
Yeah. And then we have a full-time runner who drives our little wrap vehicle. He checks on all our properties, carries tools, supplies, smoke detector batteries, sweep up, pick up newspapers, check, make sure thermostats, like just kind of oversees. Huge asset to our team. He's
How
the guy.
Often?
Every 2 weeks on certain properties, every week on certain ones. And then we hang all our own signs, lock boxes. We want everything to be done a certain way. And then he does something unique, I think, that we do in the business is, and I've done it for a couple of years, we do seller walkthroughs. So most people do a buyer walkthrough, is very standard. We do a seller walkthrough. So Doug goes through as the seller's moving out and takes pictures and makes sure that the house is in condition for the buyer. Because sometimes seller's perspective of leaving the house ready to move in and 3 broken, shovels and 17 half-empty paint cans that have been dried up and cleaning supplies and, that broken fire pit out back and that crap that we know, especially when they're moving into our farm, that at the end of the day, the buyer sees our sign in the yard. And if the house looks a certain way, we have to take responsibility for it. So he does seller walkthroughs for us. And then anything really the agency.
He's got something happens with the house, not broken windows, but like just crap in the backyard. He's hauling it away? Yeah,
so we'll haul it away. Obviously get permission from the seller. Say, hey, did you guys forget this stuff? And just try to make it like, okay, we have your permission to haul it away. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing worse. I've been on the other end of it as an agent with your buyer, and it's exciting. You go do a walkthrough, and you're like, what the hell just happened? Like, we went from this high of excitement to down here, and it just creates, and it's never at a convenient time.
No,
so it's like
scrambling.
How don't we just get rid of that stuff? You do enough business, you learn how do we just get rid of it? It's worth investing in somebody like that is such a value to our team. I mean, if you ask the agents, I mean, he wins our culture award. Matter of fact, we had to tell him to quit. He just gets the award. Now, who else do we give a shot? Because he's just that guy. He'll be emptying the trashes. He'll run and do whatever. We're really blessed to have that on our team. And my brother does the majority of our listing side. Ty Lusk, who we've been blessed to get in business with, is changing lives already, man. It's huge. It's so, I get emotional thinking about it. It's so cool and such an honor that he chose to be in business with us too. Out of all the choices, some amazing people he was talking to, it was super humbling but super cool that he found his place with us culturally and opportunity-wise. And man, he has not rested since he's been there. He is growing us. When you say people, I think we have 2 or 3 more starting next week. But the benefit we have is that our franchise can be the Navy in my mind, and we can hire the Navy SEALs. So we get a chance to pick who we're in business with, and we go through quite a process because we want experts, because we know our team brand. When we're doing a cross sale or anything, we know it helps us get deals done if our reputation is solid. So our sales team has continued to grow, have some newer people, have some people who have been with us quite a while. And so we're probably in the mid-20s right now on our team. We're actually, my wife was doing it today. I went and got a storage unit, bought a bunch of stuff out of model homes, and we're starting to stage homes again on our own for our team. It's just an added value. Nice. Because I know as this market gets tougher, it's that 2-1-2, right? It's that, hey, that house is vacant, but we know how that shows compared to, we know that the first showing on a house today is not through the front door anymore. It's online. Oh yeah. They've looked at it, narrowed it down. If we don't even make that list, so the pictures bring life to it. And so just, really working hard to do what we can to just take the initiative and say, what's it cost us? Not that much more to go out and then have a seller go, wow, like that was pretty awesome.
More than I asked for.
More than I asked for. Because at the end of the day, we're in the solution business. We got to solve the problem. They give us a piece of crap to sell. We got to go. If we're taking the listing, you put your name on the listing, you now have to go help figure out how to sell it. It's not, it can be their fault, but at the end of the day, the neighbors see your name, your sign hanging out there. So I go, we got to take responsibility on how to solve this.
So with your business model the way it is, do you have an ISA?
We don't. We've went back and forth on that. The agents really wanted to keep that in-house because they felt like they were responding promptly. We are testing a new system right now. We're partnering out some of the leads through one of these programs to try the live answer and the ISA type piece. So the answer is we haven't. We do have one virtual assistant currently that does data entry, all the listing entry, a lot of the back end stuff on the listing side to get it ready to go to market, and then it comes back to the listing manager to finalize and make sure all the quality control.
Okay, so I'm driving around in 85212, right, and I see a Kenya Klaus line and I call it. Where does that number go?
Right to our office.
Right to your office.
And so then during the day it rings right to the office, and then it gets sent right to a salesperson. Evenings and weekends it just rotates to the whole sales team and whoever answers it first. So it's always a live answer. Very
nice. Is there a tool, system, CRM that you cannot live without?
Currently the answer is Boomtown. We've been using since 2013, and we just, I don't want to say mastered it, but because of Scott, we've really learned how to use that system because he's built all of the toys that it offers. Most people jump systems and say this system, but they don't really. We're agents. We're realtors. We're not like to know how to build a campaign and to do all these things. Where he set all that up for the agents. And so basically, if it's a nurture, a watch, whatever it is, that once it hits, there's a text campaign, an email campaign, whatever. It's already done. It's plug and play. So to answer that. That would be on the incubation and the lead gen side. That's by far, you have to have something like that.
Okay, and then we were the question was gonna be where you see the business in 3 to 5 years, but we're talking maybe 6 to 18 months. So I don't know, year and a half, 2 years. Where do you see this business going?
Again, none of us know for sure, right? So we're sitting here. Neither one of us have that crystal ball, but I think that scale is going to be very important for agents because it takes a lot of money to run a real estate business today. There's a lot of fixed cost every month to make it look good and to run it the way it needs to. And I think that the opportunity to get in business with other people will continue to be bigger than worrying about whose name's on the building or on the shirt or that kind of stuff. It'll be, are we achieving our goals? Do we have a quality of life within it? So I do think that you'll see some teams merge. I think you'll see a lot of agents end up on teams that are good agents. Nothing wrong with that. They just don't want to deal with all the stuff. They're good salespeople. They don't want to deal. They want to go make their money and that's it. And there's by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. Or I want to buy some flips and do that. But if I'm running a business, I got to deal with running the business. It takes me away from doing.
And that's there's multiple parts. We're in the relationship business. We're in the sales and marketing business. We're in the leadership business. We're on a lot of different businesses, and there's a lot of parts of it that just suck.
Yep.
Right. So I think that's an interesting perspective. You're saying that there'll be good agents that are willing to sacrifice their ego a little bit just to do the things that they enjoy the most.
And because you know Ty personally too, and I know it's like the Ty show now, right? We love Ty, but
we all love Ty.
Him coming over has been so like it gave me. I didn't even know we were I didn't even know he was thinking about it first of all, and that we were even in the running for it. Someone had to say, "Hey, do you know Ty's looking like you should talk to him?" Like, if he wants to, he knows where we're at, and I'm not going to go bug him. I mean, I don't anyway. And so he did, and we talked, and but it's been really fun to see because he is like I hear him on the phone telling his friends or people he's talking to or past clients how excited he is because he's getting to do the part that he's so good at, and that is helping our sales team. I mean, he's our sales director. He's helping make our sales team be the best that they can be through training, through answering questions, through quality control, through their weekly 411s. So to see that, it made me go, it's possible. Like, we need to start looking out there for who's really good at something that we don't have, that if we were in business with them would make them and us better because they could make that a monster within the industry because they wouldn't have to worry about having food with their meals because there's already an income coming in because they can go now exploit what they're doing. And that's what we see happening for him right now. And we see that as we have a whole opportunity map that we mapped out and go, okay, now who do we need? Who can we find that would be a leader in those roles to make this thing? Because I wouldn't be surprised if we end up with 50, 60 people on our team in a year or two now. It's not about quantity, by the way. And some people will focus on the quantity. It's not. Is everyone hitting their numbers? Are they getting the results? Like, we're working on our GPSs for next year so we can provide our team goal because our retreat's in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And
elaborate. What GPS stands for?
Goals, priorities, and strategies. So it's basically a one-page business plan. So it's like, okay, how much do you want to make next year? How much do you want to make? Not how much do I want to make you. How much do you want to make? And then we just list out, okay, what are the strategies to do it? Or what are the priorities? So if it's farming, if it's database, if it's open houses, whatever your 3 are, and then what are the 5 strategies to make those things get you to that goal? So it's written down. And then we just take all of those and say, okay, that's how much that helps for the team, but the team wants to be at this number. So we need to find 3 more people or 5 more people that do this amount of business that can hit that under our umbrella and go make it as big as they possibly want to make it and go impact lives. Like, our charity's doing so well right now. We're raising money and just be able to give back. I've done a couple things recently, and now I have a new goal. I just want to keep pushing that. Like, I want to go build a house for somebody eventually. We want to go, start doing where we're putting the new AC on and where we're doing this. But it's all achievable through the power of pulling together. So it's super exciting. I'm not saying the individual agent can't still flourish. It's just a lot of hats to wear. And if you look online, in tech, we can't avoid it. Like, you go to Zillow, for example, which was what most consumers are looking at still. They're going to look on there, and if even in our own market where we have been on their doorstep for 10 years, they still go look there and they see how many homes you've sold in that zip code, how many homes you've sold in the last 12 months, how many reviews you have. Right. So when you combine that, like we have, and we're at 600 and some reviews now, I mean, that's pretty solid compared to the poor person who may have a great year and sell 24 homes and get 12 of those to do reviews.
Right.
They could be a great salesperson, but they get dominated by this. Right or wrong, it's just what's happening. They just can't
get through the noise.
And that's it. It's the noise. And so I do think that from a scale perspective and cost, like, if everybody has to have outgoing, everybody has to have a Boomtown account. Everybody has to have transaction management. Everybody has to have this. You just add all that up and you're like, I got to make X just to start, or I just go do the part I really love, and it's all upside. It's all net.
So what would happen to your organization if the market took a dip?
We are actually somewhat in our sales team meeting this morning, we actually talked about how awesome that will be in the sense of market share growth. And that's where, even in the short sale market, once I decided we had to do short sales because I didn't want to in the beginning, no one did, but I truly just we realized that having our newsletter, what it did is it created an audience for us. So the newsletter was the same every month, just the message in it changed. So we went from avoid foreclosure, know your options, and we had a short sale workshop. We had a CPA, an attorney, and myself there, and we would teach the people about, because they trusted us, right? They didn't, the yellow bandit signs and all the stuff that was going on. So we had that going. And then it was road back home. So we had a program to help people get on the road back home because their head was buried in the sand. They were, it was embarrassing, right? I don't want to own a home again. Well, by the way, you could own one right now for like half price. So, I mean, it might be a real good time. And now the Homeowner Workshop, which is just an outreach to the community to say, hey, we're here to stand in front of you and be an authority in the area and in the market. And whether you come to the event or not, people are seeing it in the newsletter every month that, hey, they're out doing this. So we just...
so you've got the medium, the message just changes. And so even if there's a dip, you already have the medium.
And the dip is, as we saw the last time, be a lot more really nice houses available to buy. And, I shoulda, coulda, woulda all over myself this last time, right? I mean, I sold 16 houses to one lady. I'm going, why wasn't I that guy? I mean, we 2.5 times her money in, 24 months. And you're going, man, I mean, I did a couple and it was awesome, but I didn't have the connections or the cash then. I'm going, that won't happen this time. I mean, and I'm not saying, by the way, I don't think we're going to see, when we say dip, it's getting back to a normal market.
Adjustment.
It's 90 to 120 days to sell a house. We just don't know what that is because a lot of people have been in the business have only seen 3 to 9 days on the market. Is like, holy cow, it's taken that long. I don't think it's necessarily bad, but the problem is that we have to be out. Like we had the Cromford report at our meeting this morning to show people. So our team is educated on the amount of price reductions happening already in the last quarter, average prices, listing inventory going up a little bit. It's not scary, but it's moving.
Yeah.
And the fact it's moving and it's consistently tells us that it's coming. So the opportunity is there to double down on activities while everybody else starts going, uh-oh, we better see if our old employer will take us back or this or that because the fish aren't jumping in the boat. It's hard work again. So I think it's a cleansing and an opportunity to gain market share, quite honestly.
What is your biggest struggle right now?
Time. Just wanting to do so many things. Like there's just opportunities right now and trying to sort and qualify those. But I would just say time because I just want to love on everybody and just sit down and grab their little cheeks and just let's talk and how can I help you? And, and you just have to sometimes realize you keep moving. It's like today I got out of bed at 6:30 this morning and she's like, where are you going? You're sick. You've been coughing all night. You're a mess. And I'm like, I got to go. I got to meet the painters at the office because we've done this expansion at 7 and then I haven't stopped since. And the whole thing is that, you just do what you got to do. But I'd say, time and then people, because we have so many, what I would say, opportunities right now, because I kind of feel like we've created a small, this is probably a terrible analogy, but like almost like a small Amazon, if you will. Like, right, we want to be the hub. Like, so if they need home services, we should have that division. Like that's my like Hub Home Services. I've already got it registered. Like that's next. Like why not just service that client and keep that house perpetually maintained for the life that they're in it? That's a huge value piece. Right. I need someone to run that for me. Our investor division. Start teaching workshops to investors on self-directed IRAs and those kind of things. So it's that those who's that actually take the ball and run and don't give it back. Like just own that piece. But we have, when I say Amazon, what I mean by that is you have the customer base. Like we have, we sold 531 homes last year. You compound that year over year over year, the last several years, 3 to 4 to 500 houses. It's a lot of people who trusted you. And I realize some of those moved out of state, so I get that. Yeah. Still a ton of people that, how else can we service them besides just one real estate? How do we talk to them about would they want to invest, helping their kids buy their first home? Like there's so many other pieces. We started our Silver Group, which is helping people, from active adult into assisted and memory care. That's already started to become a conversation point for people, and we have someone leading that. But she's still doing real estate transactions, while we're building that. And that's the benefit we have. You can still be in the sales team doing business, but then building this arm of our organization.
Yeah. So what is your favorite, best, or most interesting failure?
Oh. This is a Darren Hardy moment, right? I mean, just fail faster, do it more often. Man, I just think, just not planning things out and just trying them, because there's always new shiny objects for us, and saying, hey guys, with the team, hey, we're going to go do this. This is the greatest thing ever. And then it falls flat because we didn't think it through. And, it's like going to a convention or a workshop and you come back like Moses coming down from the mountain, like, we're going to fix you all. Like, we got this. Now it's like we have an agreement 1 week. Like, come back, you can't talk about any of it for a week. Like, just don't talk, because it gives your emotions time to come back down too and go, yeah, that was a dumb idea. I was just high I was excited about it. You get in the thing, you're jazzed up. Shopping cart ads I did one time. I remember I got sold on. I was still working at FedEx. I was probably my second year, and then someone called me and they're like, "Oh yeah, we did a poll in front of Safeway, and we asked, who you knew in real estate, and your name kept coming up." And I'm like, "Whoa, no way! Like, that is so cool." And I can remember, this is great, and there went $3,500 or whatever that I didn't have, and to have kids' butts on my face. And,
I always feel so bad when I'm at the grocery store. I was like, "Oh, that sucker got sold."
Oh gosh, and yet I say that, and I'm on the ad sticks at Safeway in our farm, and those things have a tremendous return because everybody sees them. The point is,
but it's in your farm.
But
they already know
if the grocery carts were in my farm, great conversation, because you're playing. Sometimes in a farm, you're playing as much defense as you are offense, right? You're just keeping people out too. But failures, I would just say, would be moving too fast, not having a hiring process really until I went to Keller Williams, and all of a sudden you're like, holy cow, this is world-class hiring stuff here. Yeah. And we use it in our restaurants, a lot of the same process. 'Cause it's just business model. It's just, you have to have systems, and systems are what makes things work, not, we're the visionary, right? Did you read Rocket Fuel?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So until I found Scott, and I say I found Scott because I was thinking, did I say that right? Yeah, until really I was fortunate enough to get in business with him. I had new ideas 6-7 times a day. Like, this is going to be great. My poor brother had to deal with all that at the time.
And they're all great ideas.
They're all great ideas at the moment, but now Scott implements them. Yeah. And we've watched our business, like if you come into our office and see our scoreboards and see the marketing materials that go out in our newsletter, you can just see when he took it over and the quality and the events that we're doing. And now we have ideas, and it's like, boom, he lets us go execute as he puts together that part of it. And it's just, it's huge. Rocket Fuel is huge to understand. Until I have that person, everything else is I'm just a hot mess. Yeah. Like, I'm just tripping over myself.
So on that topic, what book would you say has had the greatest impact on you in the last year or two?
Man, I should pull my phone out for that. There's so many. I think, when I think of what book, currently I would say building a story brand has been game-changing for us. Yeah. And you've heard me use some of the analogies without even reading the book yet, but really making the client the hero, being the guide through the process. If you look at our new business cards and our websites, everything is pictures of families and pictures of house and stuff versus awards and that kind of stuff, because it's got to be all about the
no one cares about your awards.
They don't give a crap. I mean, honestly.
Only people care are you and your mom.
Really, I would say you're probably pretty close to that, and who got second. Other than that, it really doesn't. After that, it really doesn't matter, and you quickly realize that. If you've never won, one of the awards, you go, oh, that's going to change my life, and you get it, and you're like, it just made me a bigger target. It didn't really do much, and clients go, that's great. So how much more money do I need to make you? Like, that's not you. You just stay humble, stay hungry, right? And just go serve people, and money becomes a byproduct. It's just you creating opportunities. But books, building a story brand, I would say there was a book, Getting to Yes, which kind of was on negotiation and some things like that. And I realized there's a ton of human psychology that I didn't understand on how to get people to do what they want when they didn't necessarily want to do it. I could go on and on. Traction, which is all part of the Rocket Fuel series, EOS, that stuff. I would say those would be the main. Energy Bus is a flight to San Diego, read John Gordon, but it just kind of gave me that positive, is everybody on the right seat in the bus and that type of thing.
So I like that you brought up Traction, because so next week one of the guests we're going to have is Gary Harper, and he runs Sharper Solutions, he's a Traction coach.
Wow.
So that's going to be awesome.
That's
have him on the show, because we have many guests say they love Traction, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so that was awesome. That was a lot of really good, actionable tips. So thank you so much. Thank you guys for tuning in. And then don't forget, we got another one next week, 2 o'clock, and we got the Godfather coming in. We got Russell Shaw.
Oh, man. So
himself.
Good thing I went before him.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to go after him.
Oh, so. No way. No way.
Yeah. All right. So thank you.
All right, my friend. Yep. It was awesome. Well, thank you for the opportunity, and it was a pleasure.
I'm glad you were able to power through it.
Yes. Yeah. Now go home and get some sleep. So
get some rest.
Yep.
All right.
Cool.
See you guys.
Thanks, everybody.